Welcome to this special episode Read the Middle East and Earth. I myself Manish Jaswal on Bharat Jodo Yatra Radio. Normally I make my videos in Hindi in my mother tongue, but to reach wider international audience I am making it in English. For this episode only. Episode may contain huge amount of grammatical errors, wrong pronunciations. You may not like my accent, but I will try to cover it with my content. Middle East, especially the Jerusalem Palestine Israel war currently, is not something like Afghanistan, Vietnam, or even Ukraine. Jerusalem, Middle East is actually located at the center of earth in economic sense, in geopolitical sense also. It is at the center of trade route of the world. Another thing, that it is widely and hugely weaponized area. Actors involved are not only states and non-state entities, but entities which are not fully recognized in these two categories, even unknown entities in between these two range, that is actors, non-actors, non-state actors, state actors. As far as big powers are concerned, for example, USSR, America, or China or India, for example, they can have their own influences on our countries or state actors precisely to calibrate the war or to control the war. But regarding their control in non-state actors, entities are in between these two limits, their role will be limited, especially in this highly connected, weaponized part of the world. Let's come to the point directly. As far as Gaza part is concerned, it is a very congested area, highly built up concrete area, and the reports from various media outlets, underground tunneling system is also there. Some tunnels are even across the borders, also reach even to Misr also. I don't know whether some tunnels may also open in Israel also. Think it from a very different perspective also. The tunnel system may be something like very deep sewer system in our normal cities. As far as Gaza's very congested population and urban population commercial hub is concerned, then this tunnel system may be something like that, or may be connected to that. If there is sewer system, I think there must be some sewer system for this highly concentrated population. And as the previous day news, that a large scale displacement of people have been ordered or requested from the Israel to leave the people of Gaza Strip from north through south. It may amount to some 10 lakh replacement of some 10 lakh Gaza natives to the already dense areas of south. I don't know what is the mind in the Israeli authorities, but even after full scale bombardment and destruction of built up areas, high buildings, tunnel system will not be affected, and this garbage of debris of this built up areas will be something like bulwark or shield their opponents will use and connected to tunnels and in ground operations. So I don't think with all their Israel powers, their capabilities, I am not doubting any capabilities of Israel, big power, but the war, the ground operations in the Gaza Strip will be a very long drawn war. And it's point number two is the question of identification. People present in general community very close to the, for example, just going to evacuate northern area, we can't actually pinpoint who is the person related to your opponent, that is Hamas, or it is general population. Secondly, in this long drawn war, if this happens, and with this sort of tunneling system, may not be only limited to north, it may be in south also. So all these things is very porous. So movement of fighters, native fighters of Gaza, that is Hamas, you may call it terrorist, military, anything, but it will be may look very routine to me, despite various satellite surveillance and ground intelligence of the Israel. Thirdly, as the Israel is not isolated place like Vietnam, or it is a place surrounded by mountains in Afghanistan, are very much separated from Europe. It is Ukraine where state actors are in lead. Here, non-state actors, state actors recognized by some as state actors, not in full control of main powers such of the region, Saudi Arab, Egypt, Iran itself. So, spread of war, exchange of logistics, already large scale humanitarian crisis because of the blockades, highly dense area of the Gaza like open jail. It will be a very chaotic condition in the long run. One side war will be going, one side this humanitarian crisis, all these things, aid also will be given in short time, refugees will move here and there, and it is not going to, it is not something that it will end in one day, and it has the potential to spread beyond our imagination. And in this highly connected world of people, misinformation, fake news, hidden agendas, economies, personal thoughts, egos, mixing of domestic and international politics. In the name of state, some individuals of the state may have their own political business or corrupt agendas may be satisfying. General, please listen to your general people. Give weightage to them. You can learn even in this situation where in backdrop of this very barbaric attack by the Hamas on state of Israel, you can learn from India. Best example. In Prime Minister Vajpayee's time, in response to Lahore Bus Yatra, we got backstabbed, we got Kargil. In parliament attacks, we have seen attack on our sovereignty, something like that. In 2008, open fire, attack from seaside. even whole world was seeing. It was live. But in Pulwana also, we responded very calibrately. That is, behavior of state, even in very deep crisis situations, should not be like individual non-state actors. It should be in full calibration. It should listen international community. It should also know that the actions they are taking, what will be the future repercussion for future generations. That's why I always see my Indian responses in various governments, despite their political differences, in domestic political differences, the responses of our governments, we have faced terrorism continuously. Our response was very focused, calibrated. It has the nonsense of diplomacy also, dialogue also. We listen to international community. We also respect our general community of our neighbors also, who are innocent, many of the people. If behavior of a state is something like individuals or non-state actors, and in direct proportions and in general response, then I'm very sorry that our friend country Israel, who had already faced a Holocaust situation in Germany, where behavior of a state was something like non-state actor by the Hitler, is going to same direction, especially in the context of large-scale displacement, blockage of humanitarian aids of the majority of innocent Gaza people. We have to think in this direction. More than controlling, limiting, responding the war, the big powers, United States, Russia, China, India, not only with their government or external affairs ministries, but if possible, with their all-party delegations, especially for democratic countries, US and India, should maneuver in time, intervene personally at various stages with the help of United Nations. The only solution to this Middle East problem, which we are seeing from more than 50 years, is the two independent sovereign nation states with fixed boundaries. That's what our various governments, our own governments, external affairs reply was there, if I have listened correctly. Even US and other countries also know that, but they are always saying that is not correct time, all these things, but we will delay, and you are sitting in the hub of all the things, economic, strategic, that is security center of the earth. Before environment, if third world war with in this interconnected, highly weaponized world with nuclear powers begin, nothing will survive. It will be something like the end of dinosaurs, mighty dinosaurs by a tiny meteorite. Finally, Israel should understand that America and USSR are big countries, big nuclear powers, but they compromised ultimately after long drawn war in Afghanistan, in Vietnam. Now they are talking with their long term adversaries and even recognizing it. Even the unimaginable attacks on the World Trade Center. So, state's behavior is very much different. It works or it acts for long-term future prospects also, and after big hits by non-state actors, especially terrorists, its efforts and its response are calibrated, restrained. So they have to think. Final thing is that in this highly connected world, war in Middle East, every whole world is seeing. That's why I am making videos here. Social media, people are fighting more than Israel and Palestine. So actually, minds in the world are humankind. Human mind is already involved in this murder. It is not something like previous Khadi wars or Gulf wars that people show their sympathies, show have some march on streets, seeing news in newspaper, discuss, and after halting of the war, they forget everything. Memories here are developing, and these memories may have some permanent repercussions and permanent effects. So, and last thing is that, especially, you have to understand that any power in this world, any state power, if is in this point of world where whole world is looking through his media and everything is communicated, if try to annex the land or have occupation of land, capture other people's land for any security, all these purposes, people see it very negatively. For example, I'm just giving example. For example, China is the factory of the world now. It is economically very sound, very age-old civilization. Also, India and China had very good relations in for centuries in old days. But China is not getting its due importance in the world, and democratic world is more relaxed with talking with India because of the difference in the perception of India and China. China, despite its big territory, military power, economic might, but because of slowly have a tendency of slowly increasing its boundaries slowly in water, in seas, in its neighbors. Because of this perception, she is not getting the importance and the confidence of the world which India gets despite of its own inherent various contradictions. But India don't mix its internal and international politics. So as far as permanent occupation or increasing occupation, a question of increasing occupation of the land, that should be removed from the mind as early as finally a philosophical question is that a very glittering, very shining Israel, but without Palestine. How will you remove the darkness of the mind? How will you forget that all these three great religions, where Christianity, Arabs, and these Jews all originated from this land? In the same way, Arab countries, in the garland of their Arab countries, majority of people are Arabs. They have to recognize this thing, that without the diversity of Israel, you are denying your own history. Actually, in the initial days of your civilization, all your people listen the others' views also. That's why world have seen these three great religions. So that's I'm thanking. Please listen your Israel and Arab countries and West first of all should make efforts that the people who are captured by Hamas should be returned to Israel as quickly as possible. Hamas should also understand that if utility of these captured people is not going to solve the Middle East problem or will help in their own war. So that's my final appeal. Please also listen a very special interview of the your Harris newspaper editor and writer, progressive writer interview with Karan Thapar. Thank you. I myself Manish Jaswal. Thank you.